the podcast. To meet the person behind the character. Presented by Teddy and Brian. Tonight's guest,
BravoCharlie!
on Chatting OOC.
Hello and welcome to Chatting OOC. My name would usually be Teddy and his name would usually be Winston.
But since we're chatting OC, my name's Ryan and he's Ross.
And for the day, we have a BravoCharlie. And Bravo, what would you like to call you today?
You can call me Barry, no problem at all.
Barry, how you doing, Barry, mate? You alright?
Not bad. How's yourself, Chids?
Good, man. I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's first time, first show. We thought we may as well bring a pal in,
You know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. So you could have
I know,
chose
mate.
any other person to sit and talk rubbish to you, but you chose me still.
So Barry, the premise of today is Chatting OOC, so it's finding out more about the person behind the character. So we will be asking you a couple of different wee things, just a wee bit of chat, a wee bit of getting to know you type stuff. So the first question, how old are you, Barry?
29, just turned 29 in December there. So
29.
yeah,
A young pup. A young pup.
Some would argue that I've had a bit of a hard paper around as well, but I'm 29 years old.
Where are you from? Obviously, I
Glasgow.
know.
I grew up in the east end of Glasgow. Lived there all my life. Just recently moved to the south side as recently as this week though. So that's
Oh, Southside. Nice.
Congratulations on the house, by the way.
thank you very much.
It's
Appreciate
looking
that.
good, mate. It's looking good.
Getting there. Still a lot of work to go.
Still getting used to all the creaks and stuff like that. Got to get to bed, hearing weird noises.
Lots of new noises, aye. So, but I'm enjoying it, man. It's good. It's freedom, you know.
That's it, man. That's it. I've been in my house for four years now, and I still hear fucking noises. I'm like, what's that?
Obviously, I've just moved as well, and we're trying to get. I'm in my spare room now. Obviously, the being sleeping, and the door constantly. As soon as somebody walks, it's constantly rattling every single time.
Oh,
If you
man.
can't get used to it, it's a nightmare, man.
I didn't know that new builds had ghosts. They're built in an Indian burial ground.
Whoever's buried under it, that's
Bought in a wrong tool factory.
And just Dyson's going out to die, aye. Oh, man. So we like to find out mostly about your gaming habits. Obviously, we're all here because we play games. We like to play a bit of GTA. So we want to kind of go from where you started and how you got here. So I know. I hope you got a good memory.
I'll try. I'll certainly try.
So the first one, you're about the same age as me. So Sega or Nintendo?
It's an interesting one because I was mostly Sega. I had a Mega Drive, but my sisters had the SNES as well. So I did take my odd shot, mostly for Duck Hunt. I played a bit of Duck Hunt on the Nintendo, but I was a Sega Mega Drive to get.
See, I was a Sega boy as well, man. I think I was the only person, all of my friends that had a Sega. Every single person had a SNES.
I was
What was the other one? The Sega Master System or something?
The Master System, man.
I don't know which one came first, if it was the Mega Drive or the Master System, but I had them both at the same time. I remember that.
What about you, Ryan?
I was Sega. I had
Are we all Sega boys, man? Fucking hell, you know? That's it's like Android boys as well now. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's got an iPhone, so you're like, you got an Android as well? That's brilliant. I always remember turning it on, and it was Alex Kidd.
Aye,
Alex Kidd. That was a free.
I still remember the wee tune behind everything.
Aye, Alex Kidd was dynamite, man.
Mary, you seen Sonic was on that?
Sonic guy.
Sonic. That is the only game I remember. Was playing Sonic.
Streets of Rage was my game.
Streets of Rage. Oh, what a game.
I lost so many hours of Streets of Rage.
Sensible Soccer. Anybody play Sensible Soccer?
Yes.
Even But you're only a year older than me, and I don't remember when you were talking about, man.
Sensible Soccer's a cracking game. It was like over the head, so it was like a bird's eye view of the game.
Ah, right.
So you just see, then they never had any license for other players. So it was like the Baggio was called the Biggio and all that kind of stuff.
Proper.
Maradona and that. Aye, 100%, man. AC Milan was called like AC Salam. And all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Just AC Salami. You know what I mean? Like, it was ridiculous, man.
I'm too young for that one.
Did you ever play the Michael Jackson Thriller game?
I did, mate. Yes, I did.
So good, man.
No, that shit like fucking.
Throw your hat in on that.
I remember all that.
Anyway, what was your favourite game growing up?
My favourite game growing up, to be fair, it probably always has been GTA. There's a lot of games that have came and went in that time, but I always seem to remember every GTA game in there was that I sank into the GTA games. I was a big fan of Saints Row as well, so I guess like sandbox, free roam sort of games were more my thing. Saints Row 2 was probably up there. It's one of my favourite games, but I always went back to GTA in the end. San Andreas, I was the first guy in my school. I was only in primary 7 at the time, I think. It was one of the primaries anyway. And I wouldn't say my PlayStation 2 was entirely, it was a Barris special, if you know what I'm talking about with that.
Yeah.
You used to take your PlayStation 2 down to the Barris.
It had like an extra spring on it for some reason. Those ones? Yeah.
You could get access to games from America a bit quicker and stuff. That it wasn't all entirely legal, but back then that's what everybody did. They would chip their PS2 and you would go down to the Barris market in Glasgow. You'd get games for 5-10 quid.
Yeah.
I was one of the first to get access to San Andreas. However, it was an American copy and I didn't have the switch from PAL to whatever it was. So it was black and white for the first 3 weeks until I got this adapter.
That's brilliant.
And I used to, again, I was a wee guy, I didn't have a lot of money, and I used to always go down and I would see every week, have you got the adapter? And it took about 3 weeks or so to finally get it. But so San Andreas was definitely a game that I sunk a lot of time into when I was younger.
San Andreas. I remember one of the ones that I really remember, San Andreas. Do you know that? GTA.
I remember going to my friend's house, who was also called Ross, and he had a chip PlayStation 1. Mm-hmm. And he had the first GTA and GTA London. I think it was a GTA 1, then GTA London, then GTA 2.
I think it was 1, 2, then London. I could be wrong on that one.
I remember GTA 2 and GTA London on the same disc.
Could be.
And
I don't remember any of them, man.
Yeah, it was like over the top for the. That was brilliant, man. Just running about. You'd be able to do the cheats on the machine gun and just spin around in circles.
And back then as well, you used to think that was amazing, and how good the graphics were and stuff back then. It was an overhead view of these games, and your pinnacle was trying to find the tank in the game and steal the tank. And it just, blowing people up.
The Austin Powers car.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
I do remember that one.
This is all really to me. I don't remember any of that one at all.
No. Mate, I was a football boy growing up with games. It was always Pro Evolution. ISS when you went to the Barras.
Right.
International Superstar Soccer for Tokyo, you know. You always got it 6 months before it came out and actually released in the UK.
Transfer market's leaving open yet.
Exactly, man. Exactly. And they were another one that had maybe 1 or 2 licenses, and the rest of them you just had to sit and type in all the names.
Aye.
So you sit there for hours with your controller.
I was really big in Pro Evo. I played that more than I played FIFA. Up until probably 2012, 2013 is when I started to properly play FIFA, because Pro Evo fell by the wayside.
It fell by the wayside, definitely. I think it was the last FIFA. I think I got into FIFA about 2010. I think Wayne Rooney was in a cover it. And then I played FIFA up until about 2000. what was it now, 22? I haven't bought a FIFA for about 5 years. Because it all became the same. It was just the same stuff, and then
It is. I still find myself buying it every year.
I'm the same, mate. You buy it, you know nothing's going to change in it.
I
I'm
just
22 and I played it once, I think.
exactly, because it's just the same crap. It's just
I can
the
actually tell you, I've got FIFA 22 for the PS5 and it's still in its wrapper.
really.
It's not because I don't have a PS5. I've got one of them. But
You bought the game. You bought the game thinking you're going to get it for Christmas, aye?
I'm going to get that PS5 one day.
But no, you're not getting a PS5. You're getting a new house, right? That's what you're getting.
What's about the same fucking price these days?
I know, tell you that.
Sorry, I don't know if you can swear, but you know. you can
We're
make
fucking
that.
swearing, mate. Hey, I'm nobody to swear. Come on now, Jesus.
That's fair.
I'm not sure.
I played a lot of Battlefield as well. Like I don't know what other questions you have for me in terms of like consoles and stuff.
Oh no, we just like to go through the.
Well, I was PS2, and then rather than going to PS3, I switched to the Xbox. Like
Yeah.
Originally, I didn't have the first Xbox, but my brother-in-law did, and that's when like Xbox Live became a thing. And I used to go up to his, like my sister and my brother-in-law's, almost every weekend. And the two of us would sit. I must have been about 13, 14, maybe a bit older than that actually. But we'd sit and play Xbox Live, and there was a Battlefield game. It was, I can't remember the overall name of it, but it was like the first game mode that had Conquest, basically
Bad Company?
capture the flag. It was before Bad Company. It was even before then, but it was the first time that we'd had a game that had like helicopters and like all this like building demolition and all that.
It was Battlefield 3 now.
I would need to try and have a look for it. It was.
I think it's Battlefield 3. It was the first one that had helicopters and stuff like that. I think because I loved that game. That was the first kind of proper multiplayer game that I played outside of Call of Duty.
I'd never played Battlefield until they brought the one that's out for PS5. I don't know what one it is, but the newest one, basically, I've and then
2042.
Modern Combat.
Modern Combat. Oh, right. Aye.
I had to have a quick look at it, but I remember the cover right away. It was Modern Combat was the first Battlefield I played, and I really, really enjoyed playing live. To be honest, like I remember being fascinated with the helicopters, and like I was basically hitting the spawn to get the helicopter, and my job for the full match was deploying
helicopters. Right.
Like I would deploy people, have a wee gunfight, and then go back, and then until I got shot down or whatever else. So after that, I got the Xbox 360. Again, because I really wanted to play online, I wanted Xbox Live, etc. So I was lucky enough I got that. I stuck with Battlefield for a bit, and then I switched to World at War, Call of Duty World at War.
Okay.
And that's when I kind of found Call of Duty. And since then, World at War was amazing. Like that's still to this day my favourite.
I never liked that.
Really?
Yeah, I never liked it. I didn't like the dogs in World at War. I thought they were OP as fuck, man.
Fair.
As soon as the dogs came out, you were dead. That was it. There was like you'd put 5 clips into them and just be like, "I just bite your ankles off," and that'd be you. I hated it, man.
Still love World at War, man.
Yeah,
That was what got me into it, though.
I lost a lot of hours playing World at War.
Did that come out after Modern Warfare? Pretty sure it did, didn't it?
It was Modern Warfare,
Yeah.
then that, and then Modern Warfare 2 came after,
Yeah.
which again I lost so many hours.
Oh, it's one of the greatest first-person shooters of all time. 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I made some great pals playing that as well, and like I played with Limmy. I was on like I played a lot of game modes with Limmy.
Right.
And this is before streaming was even a thing, or people really knew who he was. But
Yeah.
like I ended up playing a lot with Limmy and for quite a few weeks, and then I don't know what happened. I think I got the Red Ring of Death or something, and when I came back, he'd unfriended me, and I was like, oh, you know. But he was getting that many friend
Bit
requests.
harsh.
He was getting that many requests to play with him at the time that it must have been. He probably just, his friends list was full. That's what I'm seeing, because I wasn't addicted to him or anything. But,
Yeah. I remember Lemmy first coming out, first getting big with his website, lemmy.com.
Aye.
Just that someone that would have been your cousin that showed me that. Lemmy.com. Aye.
Absolutely.
So funny, man. If anybody's not seen Lemmy, go watch Lemmy's old stuff. It's the funniest stuff ever, man.
He's actually a very entertaining streamer as well. Like I only get the odd occasion to tune in and watch him, but he can be very entertaining as a streamer, especially when he's doing these truck simulation streams and stuff like that.
Yeah, when he does, sorry.
Oh, you what?
I was going to say, when he does his Whisper streams and stuff like that, they're really good.
Yeah, you know.
I've seen him a few times. He's very angry, doesn't he? He gets very angry very easy. Streaming. Is that his persona? Or?
That's a gimmick. Well, at least I think it is anyway. It's a bit of a gimmick, but it's all of those incidents. That's his TikTok content as well. Like
Exactly.
See, the thing is, I don't even know if he's on TikTok himself, but see if he was, he'd be doing mad numbers because there's people on there sharing his clips of his streams and they're doing so well. So if he's not on TikTok, he's missing out, man.
Constantly, man. Right, so we went for the Sega to the PlayStation 1 to the PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, Xbox One.
Yes, Xbox One.
Xbox One. Did you get a PS4 in between that?
I was lucky enough that I had both.
I feel like you and I were in the exact same trajectory.
I think we were, to be fair. I got the Xbox One, and that was the first time that a lot of the people who had been playing on the 360 with, they switched to PS4. And I found myself with nobody to play with, really. Like, I didn't have anybody on the Xbox One. I think there was like a handful of us, and that includes you, because we played PUBG and stuff like that. I remember that. But there wasn't really a lot of people playing the Xbox at all, so I kind of not felt pressure to get the PS4, but I kind of did at the same time. I got the PS4, and then I ran with that for a period, and then I kind of got fed up with the PS4, and I sold it. I got rid of it, and the only reason I got one back was because Ravy Davey was shouting at me to get one back. I think it was I can't remember what that was, probably close to the first lockdown.
Right, okay.
He was trying to encourage me to get a PS4 back, and he had one that was broken, and he said, listen, if you get it fixed, just pay for the cost of the repair and keep it. So mate, it worked out. Like, he was really kind. It was only the HDMI port, so, and I think he knew that himself. So he was very generous in giving me it, to be fair. But again, like that was a godsend, especially during lockdown, man, because I didn't have a PC at the time. I would have had no social life had I not had a PS4.
I only bought a PS4 for God of War.
Is that right?
Aye, I played PS1, PS2. I played all the God of Wars. My brother had my brother had a PS3, and I had the Xbox 360. Yeah, he got God of War. Was it the third one? Third one for the PS3, and I borrowed his PlayStation 3 for 2 days. And I sat and rattled God of War for 2 days, and then gave him it back again.
Is that the Roman game, no?
No, he's a Greek gods. Kratos. Big white guy with a big red thing on his face.
Nah.
And a big
I've
belt.
not played that one. I bought the Xbox One, right, for... I can't remember the name of the game. It was like a Roman game. You were a Roman soldier, and you just went about.
Oh, I played that as well.
I can't remember the name of it.
It was actually really good. It was good combat and stuff as well.
Yeah, I played it. I bought the Xbox One, played it. I must have kept it for about 2 days, completed the game, took the Xbox back to the shop.
I don't want this anymore. I'm done with that. That's like a woman that like buys a really nice dress but leaves a tag on it, and then takes it back the next day.
I didn't fancy it. I got my granny to do it for me.
Too much of a shite bag to take it back. No.
See that thought saying sorry, we can't take it back, and then you're still in the shop left like an idiot, man. Nah. Take it back for me.
Granny's not care, man. Granny's just going and saying, no, you're taking it back, that's it.
Exactly.
My granny's definitely the granny that changes price tags. She's definitely
right. That's what you want, man. That's cool. So, got the PlayStation 4. Obviously, you got the PlayStation 5 now. Do you play the PlayStation 5 much?
Truthfully, not overly, not too much, which is probably a travesty. I think I'm going to one of my plans this year is probably to get a capture card so that I can stream playing the PS5 more, because it's a really good console, to be honest. I don't want, like, I wouldn't say it's necessarily living up to the hype, because people have hyped up this console so much that it's so hard to buy. But it is a good experience to play the PS5. It's just because, I mean, I got that the Christmas, Christmas 2020. Christmas 2020, I got that, and then I built my PC and started streaming like 2 weeks later in 2021.
Yeah. Well, you go into my next question then. When did you start PC gaming?
Okay. Apologies for jumping the gun there.
That's all right, no worries.
But yeah, I started streaming January 2021, so I've been about just over a year in streaming. I can't tell you the exact date, but I definitely started in January 21.
Right, so when did you find out about GTARP?
I'd seen it, I was aware of it, and it probably was what prompted me to try and get a PC. Originally, I had an older PC that didn't really have like the required graphics packs or anything to even think about streaming or playing online, but I did download. I did like download mods and stuff from my GTA 5. So like your LCPDFR, which is like the offline mode where you play a co-op and there's scenarios and stuff. I played that here and there, but my PC just couldn't cope with it. So I was always aware of it. And then I think the more and more I seen things like on TikTok and whatever else, I kind of grew to the idea of maybe getting a PC and going ahead with it. We had, like, in terms of choosing servers and stuff, that was a whole new ball game. I knew I always wanted to get into NoPixel. That was always a plan, because that's where I'd seen like your bigger streamers go and stuff. But as far as GTA 5, as GTARP, I'd kind of been aware of it for at least maybe 2-3 years.
Yeah. So is that what kind of when you wanted to start streaming? When you started watching GTARP, you were like, I want to do that. I want to start streaming. Like, who were the people you were watching when you were doing that?
When I started doing that, there was Lord Kevin, who plays Mr. K in NoPixel. He was around. Other than that, there was no real GTA streamer that I'd been watching. It was just clips on TikTok and stuff back then that I was seeing, so it wasn't always... I wasn't really following streamers in that sense. In terms of streamers that I was following, the main streamer and probably the first streamer that I followed was Stone Mountain 64. Yep. And that was mostly for Battlefield content. Obviously, he did his whole Operation YOLO one.
Yeah.
5 minutes of bedtime and stuff. So I followed him quite a bit. And then I never ever thought that I could do it. And he released a podcast called... How to Become a Streamer or something like that. He's got a company called Pipeline, and they set out to help streamers and stuff like that, but they also do a podcast where they interview streamers. And I started to like hear some of these guys' stories, and I was like, I could actually probably give this a go. Excuse me. I mean, so far so good anyway. I'm not quite a full-time streamer yet, but it's going in the right direction, I would say.
That's it. It's definitely. You look at your lines, you look at your stats. They're all good. You know, for doing it for how long? A year now.
Bear in mind as well that there was a period during the year there where obviously we were coming out of lockdown and stuff, and people were returning back to work, and unfortunately I had to do the same, and I had to not take a full break in streaming, but I seen my hours go from, I was streaming like 170 to 200 hours a month down to 17 hours. So
I think everybody that wasn't full-timers or didn't become full-timers over the course of lockdowns and stuff like that, everybody took a hit, every single person, you know, like...
I think so. And to be honest, back then there was no real goal for me to become a full-time streamer. It wasn't until recently that I thought, actually, I could probably give this a go. I just need to put the consistency in and put the effort in.
Definitely.
The other thing as well, when I first started streaming, I started on Facebook streaming. I think you were doing the same, Teddy, and that's where I decided to go. And it took me a bit of a decision to switch back to Twitch and give that a go. So I went from building up. To be honest, I was doing okay on Facebook. I mean, for my first few weeks of streaming, I was sitting on about 20 viewers most nights, which wasn't bad at all. And then I went from that to having to build up a platform again on Twitch. And then when I took that break and the consistency dropped, like your audience, they're going to go elsewhere to find their content. It's just how it goes. They're going to go to other streamers. So in the last sort of month and a half to 2 months that I've started streaming like a bit more structured again, I'm seeing my audience grow. Not every night's going to be as good. I think every streamer needs to be aware of that some nights are going to be good, some nights are going to be bad. But you can't let that affect your mentality. You need to sort of stay positive, and it doesn't matter if there's one person watching or two people watching or 200 people watching. They've all took the time to watch you, so
yeah,
you better be that.
I think you don't give yourself enough credit for going from Facebook to Twitch, because you went for Facebook and doing like 20 views and stuff like that, and then you decided I'm going to jump onto Twitch. You made affiliate in 7 days. You sat with like 8 to 10 viewers for your first week in Twitch, and then but by that'd have been like the February.
Would have been
and by the April from Scorer, you were sitting 20-30 viewers. Like, you don't give yourself enough credit for how well you done on Twitch. You
appreciate
did do very well.
Oh, you're wrong. You're doing.
It's like, what would you say your best points and your worst points are for streaming?
As in what qualities I have, or
what's things that you love about it? What's things you hate about it?
I've always been into entertaining folks, so I enjoy coming on and entertaining people. And if I know I'm entertaining people enough, they'll want to stick around and watch the full stream. They're wanting to interact. That's some people, man. I love that. There's certain people who have followed me from day one. Some of them I've never met in the flesh, but they're still there. They're still popping in. They may, obviously life gets busy sometimes, but they're always checking in. I love that. I love. It's not necessarily through streaming that I've made all the other friendships. It's through RP, but I just love the social aspect, and it's something that. As somebody who can be very socially awkward, this sort of puts you on a pedestal and puts you on a platform where you have no choice but to be social. So it's a double-edged sword with that though, because that's also some of the things that I hate, is that it does put you out there and it does open you up to trolls. It opens you up to vulnerable things. There's some people have came by and said not so nice things. Some people have taken clips and things like that here, and they think you don't see them, but you do. The internet can be a brutal place sometimes, but you just need to kind of learn to take it on the chin and move on, because that's one person out of how many,
Yeah, 100%.
See, just on that point, like, obviously, you're my cousin, obviously, for people that don't know, but we kind of never kept in touch as much as we probably should have. But with you streaming and all that, it's brought us way closer. Like, we speak every night now, more or less, and it's just brought us a bit more closer. But if you weren't streaming, we probably wouldn't have done.
I agree with that. It's something that I've actually mentioned recently. I can't remember where I mentioned it, but I did mention the fact that it has brought me and you closer together, because again, I'm quite socially awkward. I don't tend to go to like family parties or anything like that. We've got a massive family, so it's not like the best of experiences to walk into a crowd of people who go, oh, you've not got a real job, you're doing this or that or whatever, I tend to just avoid family parties where I can, and I'm kind of glad, because growing up, me and Ryan were quite close. We'd spend weekends at each other's houses and stuff like that, and then obviously just exactly. But as we grew older, like, we just naturally happened. It wasn't any bad blood or anything, but we just kind of fell away. And it's one thing that streaming has done is, it led to you viewing my stream every night and taking part, commenting, etc., to then getting a PC and coming into RP with us.
I wouldn't have been doing this if I never watched your stream. It was, and I also was you and Ted that would help me, or you and Ross, shall we say, that would help me get the PC and all that, and I appreciate that. But it's just mad how everything works out, innit? Like, you streaming led to all this.
That's it. If I never started streaming, Barry wouldn't have started streaming. If Barry never started streaming, you wouldn't be
I probably wouldn't know you.
doing this, and then We would be doing this.
It's mad.
That's
It's weird, isn't it?
Absolutely mad.
It's mental. Absolutely mental.
But yeah, I mean, going back to like the negative things of streaming, was it streaming or was it gaming in general?
Streaming. Yeah, streaming.
Again, it really is just that. It's also sometimes the pressure you put on yourself to maintain a schedule can be pretty daunting as well. You know, when we came out of lockdown and I started working, I work in the security industry, which can be very unsociable hours. So it's not always easy to maintain an 8 p.m. start Monday to Friday or whatever. It's just a bit unpredictable that way. So sometimes you do put an enormous bit of pressure on yourself. And then I think the other thing that, you know, comes with the pressure is if your viewership is perhaps a bit low one night. I mean, for example, last night, I foolishly turned my view count back on, which I'd had off for, I turned my view count off for about a good 3-4 weeks there. And then I turned it back on last night and I was sitting at like 4 viewers at one point. And it does kind of dishearten you, but again, the whole important thing to remember is if those 4 people were stood behind you watching you, it's a crowded room.
That's
They're still taking the time to watch you. They may not always be chatting, which is the hard part, is like filling the dead air because they're not. Some people are just happy to come in and watch. They're not always wanting to come in and chat away. They're just happy watching your content. Yeah. So you can't take that personally, because they're still taking the time to watch you, in my opinion. But it's difficult sometimes.
Definitely. I was going to say, Jamie from Scora on the Discord is asked, how did you find Scora?
I found Scora through TikTok, funnily enough. Again, I think the algorithm, once I started to watch more and more, it started putting across a lot of American servers initially. And I remember at the time I'd not long had Discord, and this is before I had a PC. But I knew I was getting one. I knew I was going to have to build one sometime soon. So I started to join all these different Discords for the American servers, and then I seen a TikTok. It was a bit of a mixture. Initially, there was a video from Justin. He did the video of people getting Scooby-Dooed, which it was probably one of his first videos to go a bit viral as well. Yeah. I seen that and I thought it was pretty hilarious. And then Tonto MVP, he put another video up of them. They were standing on a rooftop with umbrellas, and Empass was chatting and they jumped off the roof. It was, I can't remember the whole clip, but it was pretty funny anyway. Yeah. And I was wanting to join it, but I was like, I've never RP'd before. Like, I'm very inexperienced. What if I'm going to, So I just put a wee comment on Tonto's TikTok asking him, how are they with people that are new to RP? And he's like, no, like, you don't need to worry about that. Like, just come and join. So we got the PC. Yep. And I knew Scora was where I was going to go. Again, I always had plans to try and get into NoPixel. I knew how big a deal NoPixel was. I wasn't expecting it to be an overnight success, etc. But Scora was where I first started off. Well, initially, to get myself a bit more confident, I started using LCPDFR on stream. So I was just doing like the off-duty stuff, the offline stuff, getting a wee bit more comfortable. And then I switched into Scora, and I'm just going to say, like, the offline experience didn't prepare me at all for what I was getting. 100%. It was absolutely nothing like it. I'm very, very thankful. I've had one verbal warning on. It's never been on my TX or nothing like that. It was a verbal warning for the improper use of a cop menu. How I've managed to go from having no RP experience to having like no warnings or discipline action or anything like that, I don't know. I've managed to stick to the rules pretty well, I guess, and I managed to grasp them pretty quickly.
I'll take this on the next question. How long have you been RPing for?
Literally a year today.
Is it a year today? The 27th?
I'll tell you right now, I'm sure it's the 27th.
So anybody who doesn't know, we're filming this on the 27th of January, which is a Thursday.
January 28th.
January 28th. Oh, wouldn't they have a party?
Yeah, January 28th, I joined Scora for the first time.
It's your birthday, man.
I know, man.
A year already.
I think I remember you first starting, and then I came in with you for a wee bit, and I kind of disappeared for a wee while. I remember you meeting Fatty, and
Remember that?
Fatty kind of showed you the ropes.
Fatty did. He looked after me, to be fair, because back then there was no pedestrian traffic, so you couldn't just steal a car and drive around. And I knew from watching a Gamergasm tutorial that if I got to the airport and started the airport job, I could get a car.
Yeah.
So I was running to the airport, and Fatty eventually gave me a lift. So Fatty took me under his wing a wee bit, and then slowly but surely, like, you started to chat to people. Initially, I went in with a character called Eli, who I kind of always wanted to do the cop RP stuff, so that was always going to be the goal. But I still, for the first part, while I was getting to grips with RP, I joined a biker gang called Sons of Anarchy, cliche as it is. And I done literally, I got arrested once, and then like a day or two later, I got into PD.
Yeah.
How was it you got arrested again?
We're doing a Humane Labs, and I was sort of a last minute addition to the heist, but I was with the leader of the gang at the time, Skeeter, and he had all the money. And back then, like, the money was crazy. Like, the money, it was over £1 million in this bag.
Yeah.
And the two of us took a chase. He crashed the car. The car just wouldn't start, so we were on foot with the helicopter above us. And I kept trying to tell him to ditch the money in the bush and we'll go back for it. He didn't. And I remember running down the hill, and I just seen this police car coming up and crashing through the fence. And back then, again, I didn't quite know the rules. I didn't know that I could keep running. I just thought that I was done. I stopped and surrendered. And funnily enough, it was Sean Thompson, Gamergasm again, who arrested me. And to be fair, I think he knew I was quite new, and he was quite willing to lend a bit of help. So he gave me a few kind of in-character pointers. And also when he realised I had a body cam, as we call it, on, he gave me an extra just sentence as well. So that was nice of him.
That's pretty cool. I remember when we first went into Skoda, a guy gave us like £15 million each or something like that.
The modder, man.
The modder just went, here's loads of money. I'll see you later. It's like, what's happening here?
That caused me problems, man, because like right away I was like, we need to report this. So I did,
Yeah.
I reported it. But I'd only just bought my first car and stuff, and then they wiped my full character, and I had to start again.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I knew, like, they told me I was going to get the stuff back, but it took a good like 3-4 weeks till I got the cars and all that back, so I had to start again from scratch.
Yeah.
I do remember that, man, the modder, that's right.
And Chrissy being in the boot of your car.
Oh, it wasn't Chrissy, it was...
Is it no Chrissy? I thought it was Chrissy.
No, it was a different Kingpin at the time. I'm trying to remember his in-city name. Oh my god, it's going to annoy me now.
I thought it was Chrissy.
No, it was guy. What was even his fucking his Discord name? Neckles.
Oh,
There was Neckles.
Neckles.
I was driving along, and he was in the trunk of my car, and we had a conversation. That was the same day I joined Sons of Anarchy, and he gave me $100,000. And at first I thought that was a modder until I realised it was the Kingpin. But
Yeah. I think I met Chrissy once, and I was driving, you know, the yellow Audi that I had?
Oh, I remember that Audi.
Yeah. I've still got that yellow Audi somewhere. For 1.0.
You like your yellow, didn't you? You got your BMW yellow as well.
Yeah, I like a wee bit of yellow.
Nothing wrong with that. The background feels yellow.
Exactly, man. Yellow and orange. That's my shit. And we went to the shops, and I'm pretty sure it was Chrissy. He was like, "I like your car, mate." I was like, "Oh, thanks very much." He was like, "Where'd you get it for?" I just got it for PDM. I didn't know that was in. You want a bottle of Buckfast? There you go, just give me a bottle of Buckfast. You want a joint? There's a joint. Right, I'll see you later. It's like, what just happened there? I thought it was a copper or something.
I think the economy back then must have been pretty broken. Because the money that was flying about back then was nuts. And again, the payday from Humane Labs was over $1 million. Like, it was bonkers.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of players have came and went in that time, but there's a lot of them who've definitely helped me kind of get to grips with RP and stuff like that. So
I was lucky
definitely.
with that, because I had both of yous. Do you know what I mean? I'd go for your style was it, and I kind of knew the basic rules because of following you and watching you and all that.
I think that helps though. Like, I think that, I mean, even now, like, I still get people in my chat who don't RP who can point out rule breaks because they've just been watching us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it definitely does help to watch streams and pick up rules here and there. Obviously, you need to be watching the right streamer. You're not watching, you know, the idiots that are out there breaking rules left, right, and centre are just trolling. But if you're looking for RP and you can find a good RPer, then you'll learn pretty quickly, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. So Spencer 111118 from Discord asked, "What's your advice for people who are new to RP and got into playing RP by watching XQC, people like that, who's a big GTA streamer, in case anybody doesn't know?"
Firstly, I like XQC. I never knew who he was until I joined NoPixel, but he has his moments, right? What I would say is, don't instantly think you're going to get the same graces that he gets. You know, he's treaded the lines a few times with the NoPixel staff. He's combat logged or whatever else. But thanks to the amount of viewership that he brings, it's undeniable the amount of viewership that he brings to that server. It's not to say that he's entirely untouchable, but he probably has a little bit more give before they go, nah, you're gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they always, he'll lose his rag, something will happen, he'll get a ban. A couple of days will go, they'll kill off and they'll bring him back. For new RPers, it's not as smooth sailing as that. You know, so bear in mind that some of the things he could be doing could be seen as RDM or VDM in some cases, or which in a lot of cities is a permanently bannable offence. I think in terms of just general advice is read the rules, firstly. Like, the rules are more important than people might think. The amount of times we get new players who do stuff and we'll go to them and they'll go, "Oh, I didn't read the rules." Like, why? You said you did. And they get themselves in trouble. So read the rules. Don't overthink everything you're doing. Like, just enjoy yourself. Like, if you start overthinking it, you'll be a bit less inclined to interact with other players, which is something that I especially did in NoPixel. It took me a good 6-7 months to actually start interacting with people, and once I did, I don't know why I didn't do it sooner, because it's going well. So don't overthink everything that you're doing. Just enjoy yourself. Remember that it is a game. Don't take it too personally at the end of the day. And yeah, just the best thing to do is to get started.
Yeah,
just do it.
Get started and have some fun.
I know you mentioned it earlier on, but for the one people that don't know, what was your first character's name?
Eli Bulwark. Eli Bulwark. I've still got him. He's still there, but I've had a few characters come and go in that time in Scorer as well. And I use the same name in NoPixel as well.
So what was the kind of backstory to Eli? What was the kind of...
Well, the name comes from an aspiring professional wrestler in Scotland, and that's the name that I use. And at the time, I must admit, I just used it because it was easy and convenient. I just wanted to get into the roleplay. So I thought I'll just use that name, saves me having to sit and think up anything. So pretty bland entry into him. Again, still finding my feet with RP and stuff. I just knew that it was... The idea I had of him was that Eli was always going to be on the right side of the law. He was going to go into law enforcement and rise through the ranks there. That was always the kind of blueprint I had for Eli. Nothing too deep. As that's went on, obviously I use Eli in NoPixel. I had to put a bit more thought, and by then I kind of knew the character a bit more anyway. I can't carry over previous knowledge, obviously, from previous cities and stuff.
Of course.
But similar type of deal. Always wanted them to be on the right side of the law, bit of a do-gooder. Sometimes a bit tempted to jump on the wrong side, as we've seen. But by and large, he's just all about doing the right thing and helping people.
I don't think we can go on without mentioning Al. I think we've got to talk about Al with Jen Kelly.
Yeah, like, how did you come up with the name Al.E.Gator and the monster truck driver?
So initially, I wanted to. I had this idea of my criminal character when I finally became affiliate in Scorer, so I got access to a second character at the time, which wasn't really not many people had access to a second character, so it was very much a luxury to have a second character. I was still heavily focused on PD. I was still focused on Eli, but for the likes of when you guys were coming into the city, if I was on PD, I couldn't really hang about with you, you know what I mean? So I had to get a criminal character. The name Al.E.Gator, I can't remember how it came about. There was, I think, something came from the name Alsatian, because I remember when I worked in a job years ago, someone put in a fake inquiry to the cat and dog home, and the name was Alsatian. and that stuck with me. Like that's always stuck with me for years. And I'm going back maybe 8-9 years that happened, but that always stuck with me. And I think I was thinking about that. And then I was like, no, Al.E.Gator. So it was like Alexander Edward Gator or something like that was the name that I had, but I was just shortening it down, Al.E.Gator. And I had the thick accent on. You know, I was talking like this all the time, but it became very hard to do. The world famous monster truck persona came from, there was one night when I was on as Eli, and I had someone in the cells, and they asked me my name, and I said, "Oh, I'm Eli," and they went, "Oh my god, it's you!" Blah blah blah. Like, and I was like, "Oh, yeah." And I took the slash notes and I wrote a signature on the notes.
Right. Okay.
And I gave him an autograph, and I was like, "That'd be really cool if I could use that somewhere." So I was like, "I need to come up with something like some kind of superstar thing, but not something anybody can test me on." So I didn't want to go like. Just I could have sat and said I'm a world famous race car driver or whatever, which is now what Dick Chicklets does in No Pixel.
Yeah. It's still your gimmick, man.
Like, it must have been about a week or two apart that he came up with that character. But anyway, the monster truck thing, I was like, well, nobody's ever going to see me drive a monster truck, so they can't challenge me to say prove it, you know. So I was like, no. And then I got a monster truck, and I was like, oh no, the pressure's on.
Like, you got the monster truck like about a month later or something like that. I was even like
never in a million years thought I would have been allowed a monster truck. No. So for the first wee while, you know, I was running around handing out autographs as if people knew who I was.
Yeah.
It was, you know, it was.
I dropped that.
Bumbling idiot. And obviously we had Teddy Stewart, who was my super agent, who was trying to charge people £3 a photo and stuff like that. It was comedy, but again, it helped us interact with people. Like we got to chat to so many people that we wouldn't have spoken to, and it was just purely because we were running around being idiots. But it was comical, you know what I mean? Some of the interactions that we had. But he started off as I say, the world famous monster truck driver. From there, kind of escalated into a bit more like criminal side. He was never really in a gang, but as you know, we kind of became pals with the Singh gang, which is Ryan Singh, Davy Singh, Mohammed Singh, Eddie Singh, etc. Became close pals with them, and ended up working for them as a mechanic. And then before we knew it, we'd our own sort of squad, be it yourselves and the rest of the people that became known as the associates, and Al became the kingpin of the city. So he was in charge of the guns in the city, and also in charge of sort of regulating the gangs within the city. So yeah.
I was gonna say, just a wee, how do you, obviously we know how you feel, but how do you feel about like, Al being dead now and he's no longer around a bit?
Spoiler alert. But
is he dead? But has anybody found a body?
Is he?
It's a good question.
Is he now maybe in Morocco?
I heard he's a strong. I heard he's a strong player. So basically, for a bit of context, I recently permanently killed Al off after a good 7-8 months of running with Al. Took the decision to permanently kill him, and to be honest, it was a weight off my shoulders. I definitely missed the character, and I missed the kind of, not respect that came with the name, but when people knew it was Al and it was the kingpin that they were talking to, or if somebody ran up to try and take him hostage and they realised who it was, 9 out of 10 of them would back off, and he was practically untouchable, you know. And it was that whole thing, like when people knew the associates are looking for you, they're like, oh no, why?
Yeah.
And it's usually because I was relayed some order down to get somebody killed or anything like that. So I do miss that, but in terms of the responsibility that came with being Kingpin, I don't miss that at all, man. Like it's a weight off the shoulders.
Relief.
Yeah, definitely. Well, anybody that's watching this and now, they're able to go to, once they've finished this, go to Dead Men Tells No Tales, watch the demise of Ali-Gator. How did you think that went? Is there anything you would change on that?
Honestly, no. Like we never really. A lot of people keep asking, like, was it scripted or anything like that? We had a handful of us knew I was dying that night. A handful of us knew that he was dying. Really, nobody knew how. There was only one or two of us, and again, it was planned. I wouldn't say it was scripted because none of it was choreographed or anything like that. We just knew where it was going to go. So from the police raiding and stuff, I thought it went pretty well. It could have went a bit smoother, but to be honest, I think that added to it. I think, you know, there was some things that went wrong in the overall stream. But no, man, I wouldn't change anything that I can think of. I think it went down perfectly, and it was very difficult that night not to, because when I chose to stream it live, I chose that I was just going to start the stream and end the stream without saying a word out of character. Like, I wasn't going to interact with the audience. I wasn't going to speak to my chat. I turned off all alerts, everything. Like, I went silent, and I was just purely in character the full way through. And I ended up with the highest amount of viewers that I'd ever had on that stream, and it was the temptation to like just break down that fourth wall and go, "Hi guys, thanks for watching. How you doing? Let's stick around and we'll stream."
I think that would have ruined it. Yeah, if you once you hit the water and you're like, "What's happening, guys? We're going to go to Eli now for a couple of hours." I think it would have ruined the whole experience. All they would have asked was why. You know,
absolutely. I mean that was pretty much what my next stream the following day consisted of. Was, is that him dead? Why? Like, what made you do that? Or who's Kingpin now? And I think just the way I did it, like, as far as it's definitely a highlight in my RP moments. Like, I don't regret doing it that way. I'm very happy with it.
It was brilliant the way it happened, man. It was really good.
I was lucky enough to be the guy who had to edit it for the video, and it was probably the hardest edit I've ever had to do, because the bit between you and Owen Joseph driving is so long. But like, so if I kept it, it's probably like a 10-minute like monologue between both of us. If I kept the whole thing, it would have made the video about half an hour long, and I really didn't want that. I thought, like, if it's half an hour long, then it's going to be too long. So I had to try and cut out as much as I could. But see, try to cut out any of that, it was so fucking hard, man, because it was top tier RP, to be honest. It was.
I do appreciate that. Again, like, massive shout out to Versa Vice for that, because he again jumped on with little to no notice. I wanted him because Versa's got two characters. One of his characters, Esteban, was one of our associates. And I knew that I wanted. I could have asked any other gang to be the one to kill Al, but did any other gang really need that bragging right?
Yeah.
Whereas if we get a cop who's in the middle of his corrupt officer story arc, like, he's just getting started with that, like, what a like moment for a corrupt officer. And it just so happened to be that his other character was one of my associates. So I'm glad that he was available to do it. I'm glad that he was up to the challenge. Again, was scripted, none of that drive, nothing. None of that was planned at all. I didn't know how that was going to go down. I didn't know, I didn't know who was going to be following. I didn't know anything. There was, at one point, there was a gang you probably would have seen it in the VOD. There was a gang who I think was about to metagame and try to save me.
Yes.
And then they realised that it was very much metagaming and that I had over 100 people watching my stream.
Yeah.
So they decided not to act on that. But you did see them for a wee bit and then they backed off. So anything could have happened. As I say, like, none of that was planned or scripted, but the interaction just worked so well. Like, just the chat between the two of us, he didn't have to say too much. I did a lot of the talking, but he knew when to speak, and that's when you're getting good RP, man. Like, I loved it.
100%.
And then we go to Bill, the Bullet Bill board.
Aye, Bill the Bullet Board. Or Bill the Bullet Billboard, as I accidentally call myself. He's still a bit of an unknown, isn't he? Bill. I mean, we've established that he's came into the city, made a few investments in NFTs off the back of a personal loan from his dad. So he's sort of looked upon as maybe a bit too snooty. But for all the wrong reasons or right reasons, he's found himself in a gang called the Warriors, which is again with you guys who have since not disbanded the associates, but the associates disappeared and the Warriors emerged from the ashes. So he's fell in with you guys, bit more of a street gang, bit more nitty gritty than what he's used to. So I think he's still struggling to adapt to that sort of lifestyle. Obviously he's working in pizza this as well now, which I'm grateful for. He's still a bit of an unknown. Just
on the Warriors, before we go any further, if you haven't seen it, go to YouTube and watch a trailer, or go and watch it.
Have you got Sky? Have you got Sky now? I think I said that about 19 times in the last couple of days. You got Sky in your apartment? It's on Now TV, go watch it.
The Warriors, if you've not watched the Warriors movie, it's a street gang in the 70s in America. And the whole plot line is about them being framed for something that they didn't do and every other gang in the city going after them. With this, I think we've all agreed it's a different kettle of RP to what we're used to being in the associates and having all the guns and driving all the fancy cars and having that weight behind our name where nobody's going to mess with us. We're fully expecting to get involved in beefs, which I'm personally looking forward to, the fact that we're allowed to sort of get involved a bit more with beefs. Also, you know, I think we're going to have to be prepared to be on the losing side of some battles, which, again, some of the best roleplay comes from when you're taking a loss. And I'm not just saying that, like, I know sometimes I mention that in community meetings and stuff. I'm not just saying that for the sake of saying that. Like, when you know you're prepared to lose, like, I don't know, man, it's just fun because you're not always going to lose, but if you're prepared to lose and you take the win, it just seems that bit more rewarding.
It's like how many times we've done Evangelicals and we've done it in a Scooby-Doo van or we've done it in fire trucks, and you know you're going to lose, but you have a laugh when you're doing it, you know?
Exactly.
It's not all about always getting that payday or always getting the roles, you know?
It's when you're looking to that lead to Gov sits on it, when you're looking for basically a win.
I think that's one of the big things as well, that it's one of the, I don't want to say the flaws of Scora, but it's something that's constantly needing to step up a bit, is people being willing to accept a loss. Whether that is through kind of rubbish means or power hungry means, or, you know, some people just kind of instantly want to break the character, break the scene and start calling gov sits and stuff like that. And it's something that many a time, you know, I've seen the report come in, I've went to it as a staff member, and you found yourself in the middle of a scene and you're going, like, I've just ruined this scene because I've teleported in front of people, and you don't know who's streaming, you don't know anything like that. I've learned now through experience not to just teleport. Like, I'll double check, is the scene finished, or I'll go and spectate them to make sure the scene's finished. If the scene's finished, then I'll step in, pull them up to a rooftop or whatever else. But people just sat and enjoyed it for what it was, and when you took a loss. I've been frustrated. I mean, I think if you weren't frustrated at losing,
100%,
then, you know, you've not got the passion for your character. But you know, sometimes you just need to be prepared to take a loss, and I don't know, man. It's a bit more exciting that way because you're going in with nothing to lose.
Definitely, man.
Definitely. But so billboards, where's Billboard going next? What's the plans for them?
I don't know, to be honest. There was talks of him taking over another business, but not taking over a business, just running it for someone who doesn't quite have the time to run it.
Yeah.
So I'm still waiting to see if that is going to happen. But for now, I think he's just enjoying the
Warriors.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's just enjoying. He's looking forward to getting involved in beefs and stuff like that. He's got his melee weapons ready. He's got his colours on. He's good to go. I think the hard part for him is to not drive his fancy cars that he's got. He's trying to stay modest.
Sorry, it's NFT money, aye.
That's it. You know what I mean? You saw him on his first day in the city. He was driving around in Rolls Royces, etc. And he's had to kind of become a bit more humble and put them in the garage and start driving some more cars in tune with his character, should I say?
Yeah. So, coming out of the Scorer and RP and stuff like that, what other kind of hobbies do you have except for RP?
I want to say wrestling. I've took a bit of a hiatus, not a hiatus from wrestling, but I've took a good few months away from wrestling just to deal with other things. Obviously, the job situation and stuff like that. Like when we came out of lockdown was a bit different, and that had to take a precedent over training and wrestling on shows. Still did the odd show here and there last year, but the last few months, it's been a bit of a break. But I would definitely say it's still a passion of mine. It's still something that I'm going to be following up. So definitely professional wrestling. Again, just a wee plug for myself, I wrestle under the name Eli Bulwark. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, etc. if you want to have a wee look around. So largely that, I would say. I'm a biker as well. So again, wee bit of a hobby of mine. But no, man, largely it's video games. That's my escape more than anything. I would say.
What is it you're doing now for your job? What type of work is it you're up to now?
Security industry mainly. Again, a bit of an unsociable job at times, so the hours can be a bit pernickety. But this year, I'm definitely putting a bit of a focus on the streaming side of things. I want to try and improve my production quality. I want to try and improve my social media, so I want to start using TikTok more, which I have done recently, and it's been I didn't realize the importance of things like TikTok, man. Like, if you're not using TikTok for your content, like I was sleeping on it, others are sleeping on it.
Yeah.
Because if you get those one or two videos and the algorithm hits, like it's now where I've got my biggest following is on TikTok. So like I want to try and engage with that a bit more, get a bit more content out. And then hopefully by the end of the year, be at a possible position where I could look at going full time as a streamer.
With TikTok, I think you've been doing it the way it should be getting done, and you're getting likes and getting followers with it, like going in between doing GTA and also doing face stuff. You're like talking to people and stuff like that, which I haven't done. Like I don't know where to start with that kind of stuff. So you're doing really well. You're doing really, really well.
You sometimes feel a bit silly doing the whole kind of vlog side of it, like chatting about your everyday stuff. But what I like about that is I kind of started to reply to comments with videos, and that's boosted my engagement a little bit more as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the likes of Ravy Davey has kind of helped me a bit with the algorithms and stuff, and he's only just starting to understand it himself. But the guy's got like 5 TikTok accounts, and all of them are sitting in 5-figure followers. He's doing really well, and it's because he gets it, he understands, and it's by taking a sort of leaf out of his book with replying to video comments with videos and stuff that I started to boost my engagement, and I'm looking to keep that going, just keep the momentum going with that. It does feel stupid sometimes chatting to a camera, like vlogging when you're walking along your mobile or whatever else, but I'm kind of used to that now. Like, that is what it is.
Exactly.
So now that's the end of all our questions. Now we're going through the most important part of the day, and it's Ryan's quick-fire questions.
Oh, right, okay. I'm ready. Are you ready? I'm
I
ready.
don't know. Right, man. So, if you're on a desert island with one scorer character, who would you want it to be and why?
Oh, got to be Big Tina in it. Got to be Big Tina.
Tina. Definitely, man.
It's got to be Big Tina. As for why, we don't know why. She's a bit of a doll, isn't she? She's what, 60 and still kicking it, but
Small
no. Tina's a character that I've not had a lot of interactions with, but when you do have them, man, it's a gem of an interaction.
Yeah, you remember.
I always enjoy interactions with Tina.
She's a good laugh. Next one is, obviously we've got pizza this and scorer, but how do you feel about pineapple on a pizza? Yes, no, and why?
If you asked me this 2 years ago, no. If you ask me now, yes.
Ooh.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if it's when I lost my taste when I got COVID, but I enjoy pineapple on a pizza now, and I used to be so against it. But
When did you? Sorry. I know there's quick fire questions, right? But when did you decide? Fuck it, I'm gonna have pineapple and pizza.
So if you've ever had an Asda's freshly baked pizza, right? Asda's pizzas are dynamite, and they put them, wrap them up, take them up. You can't just get a ham one, right? And I love ham on a pizza. And there was one night that somebody cooked it for me. I think it was my dad or something cooked it for me, and he forgot to take the pineapple off. And I was just too lazy at that point because all the juice and that sank into it anyway. So I was like, fine. And I ate it and I enjoyed it. So it just it happened by laziness, really.
No for me, man. No for me. Next one. What part of a kids' movie completely scared you?
Part of a kids' movie completely scared me.
When you were younger, to now, what any age?
It's probably last week watching Lady and the Tramp.
Is Drop Dead Fred count as a kids' movie? It's a bit of a grown-up one, isn't it?
It's a bit of a grown-up, but
it's a movie from when I was a kid that used to scare me, I guess. And it's a bit where he's got his face all smooshed from the fridge.
Right.
That used to creep me. That creeped me out, man. I'm trying to think of more. Toy Story is probably a good one when Sid's toys first come out the woodwork.
Oh, aye.
The baby's head with the eye missing on the legs. That used to creep me out. But Toy Story is one of my favourite movies of all time. So.
Next one. Toilet paper over or under?
Over.
100%. That's. You asked me that question. It's over. Like there's no chat about this. There's just over.
I want to see if there is, if MD is in.
Oh, there'll be an under out there somewhere.
Aye.
Right, last question. So, who do you know that really reminds you of a character in Scorer? In your
Who
personal life?
Who do I know that really reminds me of a character in Scorer? I know this is meant to be quick fire, but that's a tough one.
That is.
I mean, McTadger reminds me of one of my high school teachers, but I can't remember his name. I know you went to my school, Ryan, but I can't remember the name of the head teacher. No, the head teacher.
Oh,
big tall, skinny guy.
Riley.
Mr. Riley. Mr. Riley. Aye. He reminds me of my head teacher, McTadger. And I think that's why I hate when I know it's him that's pulled me over or something like that, because I just don't have a bad time. But yeah, McTadger reminds me of my high school teacher, my head teacher.
I'm not going to see him without thinking about Mr. Riley now. Oh, well, that's all the questions.
Awesome. Well, we've got one more thing to ask you to plug all your socials.
Oof, no problem at all. So my main one you can find me on is BravoCharlie125. You'll find me there on Twitch. You'll find me there on TikTok. If you're going to look for me on Facebook, it's BravoCharlie Gaming, which I should probably change to 125. And Twitter is at Eli Bulwark, which is my wrestling persona. So you can find me there.
Magic. Well, thank you very much, Barry, for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a blast.
It's been a good laugh, man. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Right, guys, thank you very much for coming on tonight. Next week, we will be having Major Lee Hung, the Gramps himself. Old Gramps, old Brocco Bank. That'll be a good one. That'll be a really good one. He's super buzzing to come on. So what to do, if you can, we would like to do more Q&A questions. Get your questions down in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button, just so next time we put one up, you get a notification. And until next time, I've been Ross.
I've been Ryan.
I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.